I'm a stay-at-home mama of Irish twins. I have one natural and one emergency C-section. My name is Rose, and I am a miraculous mama.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Miraculous Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Joy, and we believe in empowering women through storytelling and education. In the last couple of weeks, we've had some amazing stories on people sharing birth stories or their children with congenital heart defects. Or last week we had KJ talking about a father's perspective going through birth and dealing with some trauma and building community around that, which is so, so important. And educating ourselves. He talks a lot about the importance of educating ourselves because knowledge is power, guys. And Courtney talked about that too with her daughter being born with CDH. And so, CHD. I said it backwards. How she didn't know the signs to look for until it happened to her. So that's why we bring these people on to educate us, to give us more knowledge, so we can make better parenting decisions, so we can be the best versions of ourselves. And it's just been so exciting. I am so excited about this week. Oh, but before I get into it, we're also going to be having a bonus episode. So we're going to be having a few bonus episodes coming up that I'm really stoked about. And there's just, I've had too much goodness coming in lately that I'm having to squeeze in some bonus episodes to get everything in. Just a lot of great information and people just coming out and wanting to share their stories to empower more people. People wanting to share their stories to help you feel like you're not alone. And that's what the bonus episode is going to be this week. We have a mama coming on talking about trauma and childhood trauma. She's a childhood trauma therapist, and she has been through a lot of trauma herself, and so have her kids, and that's what got her interested in it. And she just has the craziest story and the warmest heart, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear from her. But this week, we have one of my dear friends on, Terra LaRock, and she is just a ray of light. I don't know how else to describe her because she's just awesome, awesome, awesome. We became friends last year, and although we don't live in the same place, I feel like she's just one of those people that I could reach out to at any time and be like, girl, I need to talk, or, send me some prayers or whatever it is. She has such a heart for women and really believes in mothering mothers. And I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her. She has been pouring her heart into an amazing app that's going to be available, or actually it is available now for you guys. And it's such an amazing resource and tool to have as mothers. And I'm going to let her tell us all about it. So before I give everything in this episode away, because I'm so excited about it, I'm going to bring Tara on and let her tell you guys her story and what she's up to and just the difference that she is making in the world. All right, everyone, I have Terra LaRock here, and I'm so excited that she's here. She is a friend and just an amazing human, and her heart is one of the biggest hearts of anyone I've ever met. And she had said something to me a long time ago, and it was about nurturing moms. And I think that that's something that's often forgotten. And she is a mindfulness expert. I would call her an expert. She has a self-care guide. She is a founder of the Mindful Mamas. She's a psychologist, a postpartum depression survivor, a wife, and a mother. And I am so glad that she is here. Thank you for coming on, Tara.
Aw, thanks for having me. I am just looking at your beautiful glowing smile. I believe that I have the honor of being in your presence. That was such a sweet introduction.
You're so nice. I was thinking before we hopped on how your name, Terra LaRock, is such a grounded name.
Yeah.
Terra means like earth, and then it's LaRock. And it's like, wow, that's such a grounded name, which I feel like describes you as a person.
Yeah, so my name, when I was born, my mom said she took one look at me and knew that I was going to be this just little free spirit with a little feist. And I think that's what Mother Earth is, right? Like so grounding, so beautiful, but then has these moments where it can show up in big ways. Mm-hmm. So I think I feel super lucky to have my name. And then when I met my husband and I knew his last name was LaRock, not only did I think he was like the most beautiful man, but I was like, we are destined to be, because his last name is just incredible. And I want my kids to have that name. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I would love for you, I guess, to start from wherever you'd like in your story, because you used to work as a psychologist and went on this incredible journey with motherhood that kind of changed your purpose in life and your direction. And I would love for you just to kind of share that story with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a background. I'm a child, family, and school psychologist. And I worked largely in the public sector, in public schools, serving a refugee community. And I loved it. I loved working with kids. I loved working with the family unit. It just was such a good fit for me. But when I became a mom, I had a really hard time separating out the trauma of the families I was working with and then my own trauma, my own struggles that I was going through with becoming a mom. For me, postpartum depression is a really big part of my story, but it's also one of the biggest gifts that I've ever received in my life too, because it really woke me up to allowing myself to go deep and to think about what, my purpose is in this world. And while I love working as a child, family, and school psychologist, I felt like there was this bigger need for moms. I felt like moms were being forgotten somehow, and we were wrapping our support around the kids and trying to fix the kids, but not really focusing on, it starts first with the parents, mm-hmm. and then it trickles down from there. And so when I experienced postpartum depression with my first, going back to work, it was kind of just this perfect disaster, almost, in a sense where I was not able to see the signs and the symptoms of my own suffering while I was treating other people for the same things, for anxiety, for depression, for stress, for trauma. There was a lot of shame in that, being a mental health provider and not even really being able to identify, A, that I was suffering, and B, I didn't know where to go to ask for help, or if I could ask for help, because I thought that being a psychologist meant that I needed to be almost above it, if that makes mm-hmm. sense. Almost kind of immune to it, which is such a naive and really privileged way of thinking. But that was my truth. I had a lot of shame. Like, if I can't even help myself, how am I going to help anybody else? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the start for me. It was a really dark beginning of motherhood. I loved my baby, but I had intrusive and unwanted thoughts. So I had postpartum depression coupled with OCD, which a lot of people don't really talk about that. You kind of think of OCD as kind of these outward behaviors where you see people counting or washing their hands. And while that is a part of it, my obsessions or my compulsions to try to stop the unwanted thoughts were really internal. So it was something that nobody could see. I would, beg God to take the awful thoughts away. I would, try to distract myself with song. I would avoid being alone or having the room or the house quiet. I just couldn't be with myself and in my thoughts. And that, coupled along with the stressful work environment, it was hard. It was really hard.
Yeah, that does sound really hard. All right, everybody, I want to introduce to you today one of our newest partners that I'm super excited about, and that is Thrive Cosmetics, because when it comes to beauty products, there's so many different choices out there, and we really need to be demanding more from our favorite brands. I'm more motivated than ever to stick with high quality, amazing products that are both vegan, cruelty-free, not only that, but also without parabens, sulfates, and other nasty stuff in it, because it is that season of life, whether you're trying to conceive or pregnant or a new mom, you really have to look into the things that you're putting on your skin, which is your largest organ of your body. So having high performance products is totally worth it. And Thrive Cosmetics products, they're made with skin loving ingredients. They're clinically proven formulas that highlight your best features with long lasting wear. The essential cleanser, it doesn't just have incredible makeup formulas. Their skincare is also amazing and effective. My favorite is actually the Bright Balance 3-in-1 cleanser because it's multitasking, pH balanced, gentle formula that removes long wearing waterproof makeup and leaves your skin feeling soft, glowing, and never stripped away. And the reason why I love it so much is, so I really don't wear makeup that often. I probably put makeup on once a week. But once I put it on at the end of the day or whenever I get home for the night and it's time to wash my face before I go to bed, it seems so daunting because I feel like it never fully comes off. Like I have to rewash my face a couple of times to get it off. And I don't even wear tons of makeup, but it's almost to the point where I'm like, maybe I'll just sleep in it. And in the morning, some of it will be gone. I'm definitely guilty of that. But with the Bright Balance 3-in-1 cleanser, it just washes my makeup off. It is so nice. I don't feel like I have to scrub my skin and wash it 4 different times with 3 different things to try to get my makeup off. So I absolutely love it. I also love that they're vegan and cruelty-free and never test on animals. So that is super important. And then of course, guys, it's a company that gives back. For every product purchased, Thrive Cosmetics help women in need by donating funds or products. Their causes include women emerging from homelessness, surviving domestic abuse, and women fighting cancer. So as you guys know, we love to support companies that give back. And for me personally, I like investing in those companies. So if I know that it's an amazing cosmetic company that is vegan, cruelty-free, makes their formulas without parabens and sulfates and other things in it, and that they really believe in giving good products to the customer. And then on top of that, they're giving back into the community. That's where I want to invest my money. That's where I feel like it's worth it buying high quality products that are going to give me good results and are giving back into the world, which is so, so cool. So you can start thriving and help women in need today by going to thrivecosmetics.com/miraculous and use code miraculous for 15% off your first purchase. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/miraculous, code miraculous for 15% off. Thrivecosmetics.com/miraculous, code miraculous. You had mentioned, as a mental health care provider, kind of feeling like you almost feel like you shouldn't have to ask for help. Like you took all these courses, like you should have the tools almost and the knowledge. So why are you feeling this too? But I remember hearing somebody speak once and they were like, everybody, like doctors need doctors,
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like doulas need doulas, psychologists need psychologists. Like we were never meant to do this alone. And I mean, I feel like that's also part of where you kind of got that heart to reach out, because you're like, okay, now I've been there and I know what it's like, and you shouldn't have to go through this alone.
Yeah, I think you've said it. I mean, mothers need mothers.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, unfortunately, feel like I was modeled that. I taught everybody self-care. I taught everybody how to really take care of themselves, but burnout when you are in a caregiving world, whether you are a nurse or you are a psychologist or you are a doctor or you're a mom or a doula. I mean, anytime you're in that giving position, if you aren't nurturing yourself, it's a recipe for disaster. And I was a living proof of that. And there was a lot of guilt I had associated with it, because if I couldn't be the best version of myself and be vulnerable enough to make sure that I was asking for help when I needed it, I just felt like I couldn't ask anybody else to do that too. And it actually really helped me come from the lens of being able to empathize with the people I worked with a lot more, because I was asking them to be vulnerable on a daily basis, but I had never been in that position where I had been suffering that deeply. And so to be on the other side of things, it just really helped me connect on a more human level and become more empathetic and compassionate. And that's where I say, like, there was the gift in that, because it really did wake me up to how beautiful life could be. But it also made me appreciate on the days where I wasn't just paralyzed from depression or having fear for the thoughts and the unwanted thoughts about hurting myself or my baby. I appreciated it a lot more. Joy was a lot more joyful. Mm-hmm. And I want to gift that way of being to moms and to families everywhere. And so that's really where my mission kind of kicked off, from going from teaching kids to focusing on the mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And how did you, I guess, you have 2 kids now. How old is your daughter?
So my daughter, she just turned 4, and then I have a 15-month-old son.
Yeah, he's so cute.
Thank you.
I love his hair. He has crazy hair.
Yeah, we call him a little baby eagle. It just it just sticks straight out. He our daughter is a little. They say that you have kids that kind of mirror to yourself, like what you need to learn, or like who you were as a little one, and you kind of get to reparent through your own kids. And my daughter is a mini me, and my son is a mini husband.
That's
my
so
husband
funny.
It's really funny.
Yeah. I would like to take a second to share some information about one of our favorite partners, March of Dimes, who I'm very happy to be partnering with. March of Dimes leads the fight for the health of all moms and babies. Each year, they partner with the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention to generate awareness among women of childbearing age, families, and healthcare providers about actions that they can take to help prevent birth defects. They support research, lead programs, and provide education and advocacy so that every baby can have the best possible start in life. This is a fantastic organization. They have so much helpful information available, so please take some time to find out more about their work by going to marchofdimes.org/mamas. That's marchofdimes.org/mamas. You can also follow the hashtag best for you, best for baby. That's best, the number 4, YOU, best number 4, baby on social media. Again, they have lots of useful information, so please go check that out. Back to the episode. So having the information that you did, I guess, with your first, going in to have Lennon, your second, I mean, were you nervous kind of facing postpartum depression again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a time where we thought we would only have one child. I didn't know if my marriage could get through it again. My husband suffered from compassion fatigue. He just didn't have any more capacity to care for somebody who was sick. I took a lot of the emotional space in our relationship, and that was really challenging on our marriage. And I didn't know if I could survive. I mean, I had suicidal ideation. I was really, really struggling. But, as I collected coping skills, as I allowed myself to kind of peel back the layers and say, look, world, I'm showing up just exactly as I am. And I can't do this alone. So here it is. Can you hold this for me? The more that I received, and the more I was able to connect with other people who were either feeling the same way I was, or who had the skills to help me and my family through it. And so there came a point where I had to trust my healing. I did a lot to get through it. I went to counseling. I took an intensive mindfulness course, which hands down was one of the things that saved my life and that I'm so passionate about teaching now. I journaled, I cried, I wrote. I just kind of became this advocate for myself and then for other women on there has to be a way. We have to redefine what the mother experience looks like. And a big part of that is knowledge and getting in the self-care and the resources and support that you need even before you go into motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what was so hard for me was I was educated. I was an expert in my field. I, knew how to adult. There was a couple times where I'd still have to call my mom, like, Mom, I just got this tax form. What do I do with, such and such? Or can you help me with insurance? But for the most part, I could figure out most things. And then when I became a mom, I was a beginner again. I was new. I was a very steep learning curve. And coupled with, the identity shifts that happen when you become a mother and then having a mood disorder on top of it, it was really isolating and really lonely. But I knew that I had to trust my healing and I had to remember that I really wasn't alone, even when I felt like that with Lennon. So while the fear was there, the hope was greater. The hope was definitely bigger and way more powerful than the fear.
Yeah. Well, and going into it the second time, you had so many more tools and resources and, things that you had already done so much work with your first to have at your, to have there for you to help you through it if it were to come up again.
Yeah, absolutely. And just shifting the conversation from, not waiting until things got bad, but to being very proactive.
Mm-hmm.
There's that quote, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And if we spent a little bit more time on prevention and really building that well of resources and that well of self-care tools that you can access that don't take up a lot of time, I think we would all be in a lot better position, whether we're moms or not. So that is my mission. I just want to be able to say, it is okay to show up exactly as you are. You have this, we got you. And here are some things that you can do for yourself that will allow you to get in those sips of self-care throughout your day. So you're not pouring from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I loved what you were saying, like mothers need mothers. All right, everyone, we're going to take an advertisement break here. And I just want to know if any of you are like me. And when you're going out with your friends, you always have this inner dialogue conflict of, do I do comfort or do I dress up and be uncomfortable? Because if you're like me, I really don't love wearing jeans. I'll wear them sometimes, but then as soon as I get home, they have to come off because I'm just not a jeans person. So going out, it's like I want to be cute, but I also want to be comfy. And it's so hard trying to find the middle ground. But what if I told you that you never had to sacrifice style for comfort again? Because Beta Brand is the place where you can find stylish, comfortable, professional attire, and you shouldn't have to pick between the two. With Beta Brand, you'll never have to sacrifice comfort for function or style. Beta Brand's dress pant yoga pants, that's right, dress pant yoga pants are super comfy and perfectly stretchy, and they stay wrinkle-free. I also don't iron, so that is perfect for me. And they have all the style of dress pants with stretch, fit, and the feel good of a yoga pant. And I actually spoke at this women's wellness conference this last weekend, and that's what I wore. I was so nervous about what to wear, and I ordered a Beta Brand dress pants, which I will share a picture with you guys, which ones I got. And they have cute pockets. They're navy blue, and they look like dress pants, but they are so comfortable. And I was able to wear them all day, and it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this to be over so I can change out of these. You guys are seriously super comfortable. And you can choose from dozens of colors, patterns, cuts, styles. They have boot cut, straight legs, skinny, cropped. There's something on there for everyone. And right now, the listeners can get 20% off their first order when you go to betabrand.com/mamas. That's 20% off your first order at betabrand.com/mamas. Millions of women agree that these are the most comfortable pants that you'll ever wear to work or out. Go to betabrand.com/mamas for 20% off today. Now back to the episode. I would love for you just to tell us about Mindful Mamas and how you started that and what it is.
Yeah. So Mindful Mamas is, it's everything to me. It's like my third baby. I nurture it every single day. I just love waking up and showing up for Mindful Mamas. So where the idea came from was when I was in the thick of dealing with what I was dealing with my first child, Winter, it was almost easier for me to write on Instagram or to blog on my personal blog about what I was experiencing and to talk to strangers about it than it was to tell my best friend or my sister. There was something about, not really having to have those one-on-one, like face-to-face conversations that felt a lot safer for me, where I could just publish something and it could, go out and be received however it needed to be received. And I didn't have to take ownership of what happened afterwards. And so I just one day remember thinking, like, I can't hold this. I can't keep thinking that I'm a terrible person or I'm a monster or I should know better than this. Like, I just have to tell my story. And so I wrote an open letter to moms experiencing postpartum depression, and it got picked up by Huffington Post, which I was amazed by. And all of a sudden, I just had this influx of women emailing me saying, I took your letter to my doctor. I didn't have the words and you gave me the words. I've never heard anybody talk about it the way that you have. And I've had husbands writing me like, this is my wife. What do I do? What can I do? And so I saw this need, or this, like, I kind of feel like it was like the collective mother speaking to me, that there was a need out there for moms who wanted better, who wanted to redefine the way that we did motherhood and the way that we care for our mothers. And so it just was this idea where I wanted to mentor and teach women self-care and mindfulness, and really how to, not talk about shifting the narrative from what we're going to buy to help us mother, and shift it to how we're going to be. Mm-hmm. How are we going to be as a mother? How are we going to be as ourselves? How do we want to show up into this world where we can be the most joyful, whole, beautiful versions of ourselves? And so I just kind of began to mentor women online, just one by one, email by email, text message by text message, or direct message by direct message. And it kind of took on this whole life form of its own. So with just time and the little idea keep coming back into my brain, I kept thinking, like, if I don't make this an app, if I don't actually produce what I see this being, I know it's going to be transferred to somebody else. And this means so much to me that I really wanted to be the one to do it. So fast forward a year and a half later, I approached an app company, had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and that kind of kicked it off. The CEO and owner of the app company was a new mom, and she was 4 months postpartum. And when I approached her about Mindful Mamas and building an online, like, virtual sanctuary for moms to get in sips of self-care and mindfulness throughout their day and to teach them tools and techniques, she started crying, and she said, I wish I had this. I wish I had this when I had my child, and I wish I had this now. And I don't care if you don't have $1 to your name, I'm going to make this happen. So that was the start. Just somebody else believing in this project and pushing me to bring it to life.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I was getting goosebumps when you were telling it, because it's like, I feel like, I don't know, sometimes life gives you this thing that you're supposed to do. And I feel like so often we're too scared, or the self-worth comes in, like, who am I to create this thing? Or I don't know what to do. And it's like, yeah, you usually don't. Most of us make it up as we go, like just life in general. So
Yeah.
for you to just be like, okay, I'm just going to go to this app company and be like, I have this idea for an app. I don't know how apps work. I don't know how to create them. I don't know whatever. I know what I want this to be for women, and that's it.
Oh yeah. It was, I still laugh about it because, to cold call an app company without having, any business being there is what I say. It still just amazes me, but it was just taking that first step. And every day since then, all I had to do was take one more step.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think people are sometimes they're scared of failure, but they're also scared of success and what that will mean. Like if this actually works,
Mm-hmm.
what will happen if this actually comes to life and my vision is held and seen by the world? What will that mean? So, I definitely have my days where imposter syndrome kicks in and I have those thoughts like, who am I to do this? But like I said, I just felt like it took on this whole life form of its own. And I can't wait until the app is live on the App Store, because I feel like then I won't be the one carrying it and it won't be mine anymore. It'll be yours. It'll be, the women out there that need it. It'll be the husbands out there that buy it for their wives, or the wives that buy it for their wives, or, the moms that get it for their daughters. I can't wait until it's not mine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does for sure. All right, everybody, it is that time again for me to brag on one of my favorite brand companies that I've been honored to be partnered with for quite a while because they legit are awesome. And that is Native. Native deodorant is amazing. Did you know that many conventional deodorants contain aluminum, which forms a plug in your sweat glands to keep you from sweating? I mean, that's probably not good to plug up your sweat glands, but Native's deodorant is made without aluminum. And so you can feel better about what you're putting on your body. It's totally safe. It's formulated also without parabens or talc. It's vegan and never tested on animals. There's ingredients that in there, like coconut oil and shea butter. It's so good. And it works. And this is coming from a smelly human being. I am a sweater. Like, when people are like, oh, I don't really sweat, I just don't get it. I'm a sweater. I'm a smeller. And since I've been using Native deodorant, it has honestly been the only natural deodorant that I have tried. And this has been like a 3-year long journey that at the end of the day, I still smell good. At one point, I'd even given up like trying to find a good natural deodorant. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be a smelly human being. And tried some just like rubbing essential oils in my armpits. And then I just smelled like BO and oils. But Native deodorant, guys, I've been doing it for a little over 6 months now. And I put it on at the beginning of the day and I smell good still at the end of the day, which is super important for me working as a doula. When I'm with clients, the last thing that a woman in labor needs to smell is someone else's BO. So I always carry a stick with me to work because it's amazing. And my favorite scent is the herbal musk. I also use the coconut vanilla, usually right when I get out of the shower for some reason. I love that one. The lavender rose, cucumber mint, eucalyptus mint. I love the eucalyptus mint too. It's just so fresh and clean. And they have something for everyone. They have options for men, women, and even teens. They also have an unscented option and a baking soda free formula for those with sensitivities. And if you are not convinced, check out their over 9,000 5-star reviews from happy customers who have made the switch to Native. Also, if you guys have not checked out their toothpaste, they also have toothpaste. They're excited for the relaunch of their toothpaste line. Most natural toothpaste feel like natural toothpaste during the brushing, kind of gritty, no foaming, can be just kind of But Native's toothpaste is a special blend of naturally derived cleansers, flavors, and whiteners to deliver a great brushing experience without the trade-offs of other natural toothpaste. They have 2 different minty flavors, and their natural toothpaste can do it all. It whitens teeth, freshens breath, is enamel safe, and prevents cavities. It's made without harsh things like different preservatives, artificial preservatives, parabens, sulfates. So definitely don't forget to check that out as well. I love them. I brag about them all the time. And right now we have an offer for you guys. So for 20% off your first purchase, visit nativedeodorant.com and use the promo code Miraculous during the checkout. That is 20% off your first purchase at nativedeodorant.com using the promo code Miraculous at the checkout. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about what we could find on the app. Because I know for me, one thing that I've tried to work on, okay, that's a lie. I say I'm trying, but I don't actually, is I'm always like, yeah, I try to meditate. And it's like, Liz, when was the last time you actually tried to meditate? It's like, no, I'll think about it and then I just don't do it. So I think the word mindfulness for a lot of people sounds like maybe something I can't achieve. Like mindfulness to me, I've been learning a lot about it, but I would say like a few years ago, mindfulness to me would be like, oh, I have to meditate. I'm not good at meditating. Or, oh, I have to, whatever. Oh, that's for people who are super Zen. Like, I don't know if I'm a mindful person because I'm scattered or whatever it is. So speak to those women who might be thinking that way right now.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am that woman.
Okay.
I would sit in yoga classes before I even had kids. And, they'd say like, okay, now we're going to take a moment to lay in Shavasana and I want you to still your mind. And that was a trigger word for me. Like when somebody said still my mind, I felt like my mind was like, hey, watch this. And all of a sudden I'd be thinking about my to-do list and what I forgot to do and, daydreaming about my dream vacation. And my mind would just open so many tabs where then I would completely forget that I was trying to still my mind. And, 10 minutes would go by and I would have no clue where I went. Or I would be looking around the room being like, yeah, like that woman is so Zen. Like, look at her. She's just like blissful and smiling. And I'm feeling anxious. Like this is not going to happen for me. And so, I'd always used mindfulness as a therapeutic approach with the children that I taught. But it wasn't until I adopted it into my daily life and I took a mindfulness course for caregivers where it made sense to me. And so what I tell women is that mindfulness is not the art of stopping your thoughts. Your brain is meant to produce thoughts. It will always produce thoughts. What mindfulness and meditation can do for you is it can allow you to shift the narrative of how you see and how you respond and how you react to the thoughts and the experiences that you're having. It just helps you drop in to being here, to being present, and to meeting yourself however you are, and to showing up in the most authentic way. So I think a big misconception about meditation is that you need to sit there for 20 minutes every single day and just do nothing. The art of doing nothing.
Which is great if you can do that.
It is so great, right? Yeah, it's so great. But who really has time for that? And so what Mindful Mamas is trying to do is we're trying to give practical ways to have moments where you take a minute and you say, hey, body, how are you feeling? Hey, that thought is interesting. Do I want to investigate it or can I just let it go? Do I have to believe everything that I think? Am I everything that I think? What Mindful Mamas is doing is we're giving you, so we have 4 pillars in the app. We have 4 different ways to practice mindfulness or meditation and then to generalize it into your daily life. So for example, if you've ever used a mindfulness app or you've ever tried it, there's usually guided meditations. So that's somebody kind of leading you through a topic, whether it's about resilience or relationships or having a difficult conversation or, getting over shame, whatever it is, transforming shame, whatever the topic is, they introduce the topic and then you have some space where you just explore. You explore body sensations. So tuning into how your hands feel. Are they tingling? Are they warm? Tuning into your heart. Is it racing? Is it calm? What is your mind doing? And not trying to change anything, but just accept it. Just saying like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking. I'm thinking a lot right now. I'm still thinking. And I'm supposed to be paying attention to my breath, I guess. But I'm thinking. And that's that is mindfulness. It's just being aware of how you are and loving yourself no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. And so we have guided meditations that are catered to where you are in your motherhood journey, as well as general themes. We like to think of motherhood as a developmental stage called matrescence. So just as we have adolescence or toddlerhood, motherhood is not a one size fits all. Like, what you need when you're pregnant is different from what you need when you pack your kids up to move out of the house. It's just, you have different pain points and you have different areas to celebrate. So we really offer up catered content to where you are in your motherhood journey. And then we have 3 other just incredible ways to take, the formal practice of guided meditations and listening to a series and bringing it into your daily life. So we have breathing techniques. If you need to have a breath for energy, we have that. We call it rejuvenation breaths. If you need one for relaxing because you're freaking out, we have that. We have mantras where you can actually record your own mantras, which is pretty cool, or listen to our curated mantras that we have recorded. And then we have this pillar called mini pauses. And these are 1 to 3 minute exercises that you can do anytime throughout your day. You wake up in the morning and you want to have an intentional face wash, you got it. You need to reset because your kid is throwing a level 10 tantrum in Target, you got it. So we really tried to break it up into where can moms and moms to be pause for 1 minute to 3 minutes, no matter who's around, no matter where they are. How can they take care of themselves and meet themselves exactly where they are and then move on? So you don't have to have those huge breaks where all of a sudden you just can't take it anymore and you plan a spa day for the whole day. We think that bubble baths and massages and going to the spa, those are kind of patronizing Band-Aids that don't really get at the root of the problem. And we will never suggest that. While they're amazing, and I mean, who doesn't love a bubble bath, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need a bubble bath, but we really feel at Mindful Mamas, there's little micro things that you can do in your day that don't add on any extra time or effort that will make a huge difference in how you show up for yourself, your family, and the world.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, most, like you're saying, who has time for that at the beginning, right? So, I mean, that's the thing that you hear from moms a lot is like, I don't have time, so if it's 1 minute here or there, and like, let's face it, you have your phone on you anyways, you can open the app, maybe one time instead of opening Instagram, open the Mindful Mamas app,
right?
And take 1 minute to do one of these things. And that's nice. It's like just a resource that's at your fingertips.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what happened for me is I was so scared of those big time periods of silence where I was just breathing or I was just feeling my body connect to where I was sitting or feeling the texture of my clothes on my skin. That was a really scary place for me. I mean, I had OCD. I still struggle with it. I think I'll always have it. But now, after learning mindfulness and learning that it just can be, standing up and before you walk from your bedroom to the kitchen, maybe taking a minute to shift in your feet and feel like the ground supporting you and kind of play with the weight balance between your left and right feet. And then as you walk, scanning the room and looking for like one thing that you think that's beautiful. That's mindfulness. That right there can be the difference between going through your day from only being in your head and being so disconnected to your body and to what's happening around you to really enjoying and loving and appreciating those tiny little moments that is your life, that is the blessing that is your life. And so that's what Mindful Mamas teaches, is just how do you do that? Mm-hmm. And then what's so interesting is when you start doing those little practices and you do, like you say, like opt out of Instagram and opt into Mindful Mamas for a minute, you start craving and you start learning how to be in those longer periods of space. And so for me, like a 10-minute meditation is something I crave. I crave that. I have to do it every single day. And so I make it happen for me. I make it a priority because I know my mind and my body and my family needs me to do that. So that's where we're really trying to just mitigate that fear or those thoughts around like, I'm not going to be good at this. I can't be mindfulness. Those are only for, the Zen women of the world or the hippies out there. This is for anybody. Anybody can learn these skills. And I'm so excited for it to be here. I just can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. All right. I want to take a second to tell you guys about a new service that I discovered. And I think that it is just a super cool way to find care in your area, whether you're looking for child care or senior care or house care or pet care like we do. Care.com has the answers for you. As the world's largest online destination for finding and managing family care, Care.com helps millions of families find high quality care for their children, aging loved ones, home, and pets. They make it so easy for you to find, manage, and pay for care. They have tools and information to guide families through the hiring process with reviews and background checks, and they help with your household employer obligations, including payroll and taxes with Care.com Home Pay. It's really cool because you can replace errands with family time now. Why spend your weekends cleaning or driving around or walking your dog when you can let Care.com find the right people who can help you with this so you can spend more time with your family. So one thing that I used Care.com for was for household care. So I don't love doing chores. I love to cook, don't like to clean. But I mean, obviously I'll do it, but we have been super busy lately. So finding somebody who could help out around the house once a week is really important. Because for some reason, it's just one of those tasks that seems daunting to me and overwhelming. And it was so easy to sign up with Care.com. I got their premium membership, and it was so cool to find out that there was all of these people in my area who do the work that I was looking for. And I had no idea. I thought that like I'd have to go through some sort of agency or different service, but I found so many people and it was endless. And then the applications were sent to my email and I was able to go through people and specifically check what I was looking for and be able to find exactly what I was looking for. And it was so easy to do, but not only just with household care, guys, it's also with childcare. If you're looking for childcare in your area, you can find somebody who speaks a different language or plays an instrument, anything to help what you're trying to instill in your children. Pet care, doing dog walks, senior care. They have so many options on there, and it is such a great tool and resource to have and to be a part of. And right now we have an amazing offer for you. I have the premium membership and you should get one too. So right now you can save 30% off a Care.com premium membership when you visit care.com/mamas. That's care.com/mamas for 30% off a Care.com premium membership. Now back to the episode. I want to touch really quick back on, and I'm going to say it wrong, matrescence.
Yeah.
So I heard that first last year. I was talking with Dr. Alexandra Sachs, and she was talking about how in anthropology, there's adolescence and then there's matrescence. I'm saying it wrong again.
Matrescence.
Matrescence.
Okay. I'm saying it wrong. Who knows?
Yeah, no, but I feel like that's a word that does need to come back because it's like, okay, adolescence, there's an explanation for this person who's going through puberty and who's growing and who's experiencing these different hormone surges and growth spurts and, their mind's changing. They're becoming more of an adult. Okay. But there's also that period for becoming a mother. And it's just completely skipped over. It's like, oh, you're pregnant. Cool. Here's your baby. Like, you had a baby. There's no manual. There's no anything for this. Good luck. And it's like, there is anthropologically a season for that in your life where you're learning how to be a mom. and your body's changing and your hormones are changing and you're learning how to keep a human alive. And it's like, we skip over that. That's like a huge part of your life.
Huge. And it doesn't stop after a year.
Right.
I mean, the challenges I'm facing with my 4-year-old, I'm still learning, and I'll always be learning. And when I talk to women who, don't even have kids in the house, and how that was a really hard time for them, or they're talking to their kids about, risky behavior and peer pressure, and bringing up these huge, very adult-like conversations with their preteens and their teens, the village gets quieter for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't want a quiet village. I don't want to offer also the same skills and the same tools for a pregnant woman to those women. Yes, there are definitely universal skills that you can apply in so many different scenarios. But if you think about it as, like you said, like a developmental stage where you're growing and you're changing and your brain is changing and your body is changing and your life experiences are changing, there's more room for nurturance. There's more room to grow and to thrive and to be really met where you are. And yes to matrescence. Let's put it on a t-shirt,
right,
and plaster it all over the billboards and say, mothers need more. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they call it the terrible twos, right? Which I've heard a lot of people actually experience that around the threes, but I don't know.
It's totally the threes. I just think it sounds nice. That's where it came from.
Right.
It is like three-nager is what I called it.
Three, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, attitude central over here in the LaRock house around 3.
Yeah, and then, going back to adolescence, it's like, oh, somebody having a screaming match with their parent. It's like, oh, they're a pesky teenager. But then a mom having a meltdown, it's like, get your shit together,
Yeah, you have dinner to cook. Let's go.
Right.
You got to get your kid ready for bed. I mean, yeah, there's no space there, or it feels, I think we're getting better as a society, for sure. But yeah, I definitely had those moments where I was like, I shouldn't be acting this way, or I shouldn't be feeling this way. But then when I started to explore the theory around matrescence, it just helped me get just understand that there's a reason for this. There's a reason why I am feeling and showing up the way that I'm showing up.
Right. Exactly. And I feel like when there's that explanation, it's so much easier to also give yourself grace and be like, okay, this is normal. Maybe some of the thoughts and things I'm having aren't normal, but I'm not the first one who's been through this. This is, this season of change, and these things do come up. And knowing that, I'm glad that earlier you went over some of the things that you were feeling and stuff. And there are times where there's things that are normal. And then there's times where you really do need to get help, but having a community around you where you can even talk about that and not feel judged, and to be like, okay, did anybody, have you felt this way before? Or if somebody else already put it out there, like you did with your letter, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Oh my gosh, Tara went through it, and she's, openly talked about it, and she's doing okay. And she's, still doing good stuff in the world. And it's like, maybe I can be okay. And being able to share that makes such a difference.
It really does. And whether or not, I mean, I think another misconception about what I'm teaching is it's only for women who have anxiety, or it's only for women who have depression. And that was just the catalyst that brought me to mindfulness. That was just what pulled me in that direction, and needing it so badly to get out of where I was. But mindfulness and meditation and self-care, it's a birthright. It's a birthright to love your mind, to love your body, to accept yourself just as you are, to experience the pleasure and the playfulness and the just happiness that's accessible to you through motherhood. I just want to make that clear, because I think that is something that women have come to me like, well, I don't have this. Will it work for me? And it will give you what you put into it. It will just be those tiny little changes that you do throughout your day where all of a sudden you just are living your best life and your kids can see it. And what a gift to give to your children. I mean, I do not shelter my kids from big emotions. I work through them, appropriately with my children. And then we talk about it. Like my child has seen me cry and has asked me big questions. And I've told her, mommy's feeling really overwhelmed right now. So I'm going to pause here. We're not getting out of the car. I'm putting my hands on my steering wheel and I'm taking 3 really big, deep breaths because that was hard for me. What you said, or what happened there if she's refusing to A, get in her car seat, or B, throwing a fit about something I didn't, get for her at Target. I communicate that with her, and not to put blame on her by any means, just to allow her to see that when I am having frustrations, I can do something to move through it in a way that I can respond that makes me feel proud and not remorseful, because we all lose it. I mean, we have a series on the Mindful Mamas app called The Art of Losing It. And it's all about teaching you why you lose it, what happens to your brain, what happens in your body, and then how to repair those relationships with yourself and with others in a way that's going to just make it normal, make it a very normal human interactive experience. And so that's what mindfulness can do. And I'm so proud of that. I'm so excited for it. I can't stop saying that.
I know. And you just light up when you talk about it too. Yeah, that's super exciting. Before you tell us all the release dates and where and when everyone can find all of this, I would love to just touch on too, just because of one of your recent posts, you talked about marriage after babies. And that just seems to hit home for so many people when people are like, hey, here's an article about how marriage is after babies or whatever. People are like, oh, I'm going to read this because I'm going through it. And it just seems like so much of that dynamic changes. But you write very freely about it. So I just love for you to kind of touch on it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to when I think about my daughter or my son reading what I write years from now, I want them to see a marriage and a relationship that was built off of choice, that was built off of really trying to grow together and allowing each other to grow independently too, and being okay with that. I think, we are shifting into this culture where relationships are being modeled a lot more freely, like I was talking about before, where you don't see mom and dad only fight behind closed doors, or you see the start of an argument, but you don't see the resolution, or you never see your parents fight, but and you can sense that tension and you're just not really sure what it is or where it comes from. And when you have a child, and when your world suddenly changes from the nucleus of being your relationship to revolving around a little human, it's hard to navigate. There's disconnect, there's insecurities, there's exhaustion. And I think marriage has to be in partnerships, whether you're married or not, but partnerships when becoming a parent needs to be part of the conversation. And I really do feel like if I'm going to be so vulnerable about everything else in my life, my marriage is not off topic either. It's not a hard no for me, because I want people to know that it can be so beautiful, but it's okay when it's not. And here are some things that you can maybe think about or you can do together to work through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is important, because I feel like you said, if the conversation's not out there of, okay, what happens when it's rough, then people don't know, okay, we can get through it. How do we work through this? What are, who's modeled this or who's whatever. Because I mean, it's crazy that it's not talked about more, because when you think about it, like, no one has a perfect marriage.
No.
Everybody in a marriage fights. And when Vito and I were getting married last year, so many people told us, like, you know, they were like, that you're going to go through seasons. You're going to have seasons in your marriage. You know, like, we asked his mom for advice, and she was like, my advice is just to pray through the seasons, through the valleys, through the mountains, through everything, because you're going to go through so many different ones. Mm-hmm. And so we heard it from so many people, like, before we got married. And then it's like, once you get married, then it's like, okay, now you have to make this work. And it's just, you know, this mentality of, okay, but then when you experience those big life changes, like having a kid, you didn't know it was going to change so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my husband and I laugh about saying, like, we're going to have a kid and they're going to fit into our world. We're still going to go rock climbing. And
we say that all the time.
Travel. I mean, we went to Thailand and Cambodia for our honeymoon. We both loved traveling. And then we had a child who had breath holding spells, who was colicky, who couldn't sleep anywhere unless they were on top of us or in their own, you know, little space. Like, she kind of threw a wrench in those plans. And it was really hard because I didn't want to schedule. I was just like, strap that baby on my back and we're going, you know, on a hike in the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, forget it. Like, if I wasn't home by 10 a.m. for nap time, I was in full-blown sweaty panic mode. Like, don't mess with my baby's naps. And I think that really threw us for a loop. Was we did have to kind of change our lifestyle to match our babies and our baby's needs. And I think also thinking about it as a season and as just a phase really helps it not feel so permanent. One thing that I love to do that really helps me, and even my daughter does it, is when things really suck or things are really challenging or I'm really tired, I always add on the phrase right now. So I'm really tired right now, or this really sucks right now. And that helps me just feel like it's not permanent. And there is going to be room for evolution and for change and to be able to get past that. And I think I do that a lot with my marriage too. Like, we are not on the same page right now, but we will get there. You know, sometimes we're not even in the same book. Like, okay, like we gotta rework some things, but just, you know, adding on that little phrase has helped me so much.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Mindful Mamas, when does it come out? Where can people look for it? Tell us all about it.
Yes, so Mindful Mamas will be available for pre-order, where you can get an early bird discount to an annual subscription starting Valentine's Day. So tell your significant others to check Mindful Mamas Club, and it's Mamas, M-A-M-A. mindfulmamasclub.com. That's where it will be available for pre-order. And then in the App Store, we're launching for both Android and Apple on March 19th, the first day of spring.
Nice. Yeah. And it also could be an amazing Valentine's gift to get your girlfriends as well. If you have a friend who's pregnant or who just had a baby, it's also a great gift for something like that. I was thinking the other day about, you know, on registries, there's so many different, you know, things that you might not even use. And it's like, man, I love the idea of having your friends like pitch in for, I've heard of people like pitching in to pay for a doula for a friend, or like pitching in for this or whatever it is, because there's things that you need outside of just diapers and wipes and burp cloths.
It makes me laugh because I think about this time where winter, my daughter, she was super colicky and she was up most of the night, all night for like 8 months, the first 8 months of her life. And I remember being in her room, just standing up, bouncing, and I kicked the rocker because I was pissed at it. Like, it wasn't rocking right. Like, it just wasn't comfortable. I didn't want to sit in it. And I remember thinking, like, why do I have all these stupid things in this room that aren't helping me, like, be the best mom that I know I can be right now? And that's where I just, like, kind of giggle because, you know, that really fancy humidifier isn't going to help you cope in the middle of the night when your baby's screaming or when your teenager's, like, engaging in things that they shouldn't be, and you're worried for them. And so I love the idea of, you know, moving baby registries to, of course, yes, you need some essentials, and those things are really fun. And I love home decor. I think that stuff's so neat. But to also recognize that, yeah, maybe what's best for your friend or best for that family is pitching in for a doula or, you know, like meals, like those meal things that kits that come to your house every so often, or the Mindful Mamas app. I mean, hey, like Baby List, if you're listening, we're ready. Like we would love to have Mindful Mamas available to gift to or to register for mom.
Yeah. It's such a great idea, and it's very much needed. And one thing I always tell people too, after they have babies, is anybody who's coming over to your house after you have a baby who wants to see the baby, make them bring something. Bring me a meal. You can do a load of laundry and then hold my child. Like something.
And eye contact with mom. I think a lot of times after you have baby, it's like, oh, you know, everybody's looking kind of from the chest down. Like, how are your boobs? Are you breastfeeding? How's the baby? I want to look at the baby. And I just remember feeling so invisible. Like, look at me. Like not that this all needs to be about me, but I'm still a person, and I'm still like here. And I remember being really thrown by that, just even after my experience with Winter. So now I'm super intentional where, you know, sometimes when a friend has a baby, I go over just to be with the mom. You know, I just go over. There's a place to be with baby, and then there's a place just to be with mom.
Yeah, that's really good advice too. Don't forget that. I remember a lady sharing once that somebody had asked her after she had the baby, like, how are you? And she just broke down. She's like, nobody's asked me. Like, everybody's like, how's the baby? How's the baby? You kind of do become invisible. Everything's about this baby now, and they're so cute, and everyone just wants to come hold them and love on them. And it's like, I pushed it out.
I did that.
Or I went through major surgery for this baby to be here, like, or just whatever it is.
Adopted this baby. There's just
like, I went through a lot of work for this, so I'd like some acknowledgement as well.
Well, I just think what you're doing is so incredible. I mean, information, you said this earlier, is just so powerful, and just giving women vocabulary and tools and techniques that they can just implement, you know, right away. It's just such an honor to be here, and I can't thank you enough for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming on. And before we get off, where can people follow you and find you at?
So Mindful Mamas has its own thing. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, we're Mindful Mamas Club on Instagram. And then my personal blog is Love and LaRock, my last name. So loveandlarock.com or at loveandlarock. Come say hi. I would really love to connect with you.
Yeah, and she has some amazing blogs up there, and then definitely check out the Mindful Mamas Club page. On my Miraculous Mamas, I repost a lot from the Mindful Mamas page because you just have a lot of mantras and just different good things on there just to remind ourselves of and to think of. So thank you so much for coming on, Tara, and for sharing your heart and being a part of this with us.
Thank you for having me so much.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I love that woman. She is great. So I actually got the app for myself because just as a doula, I wanted more tools to know how to support women, and especially through laboring and birthing and even in motherhood. It's such a great resource to use as caregivers. So if you are a nurse or a doula or a doctor or a midwife, it's such an amazing tool to have to be able to look at and reference and get information to know how to support your clients, to have more words to say. And it's truly an amazing gift. It's also a great gift to give if you know someone who is a new mom or becoming a mom. it's awesome to gift it to someone to be able to use. I know for me, like I always tell Vito all the time, like, I can't wait to give birth. I'm so excited to give birth one day. I think because I obviously I work in it and I'm around it all the time, and I know all the science behind it, and I'm like, okay, I can do it. And no matter what happens, I know that I can face it. But it's what comes after that that terrifies me, because when it comes to motherhood, when it comes to all the life changes that are going to happen, you can't prepare. Like, you can read as many books as you want, and you can, take classes, but until you're in it, like, your world is going to literally change. And that's the part that I feel like I'm scared of. And that's why I love bringing people on this podcast to educate me and continue to learn more tools and resources to have for when I'm in that phase. And I know that the Mindful Mamas app is one of those tools. So definitely, you guys, make sure you check it out. I'm going to have the information on the Instagram page, also linked to this podcast. So make sure that you are checking it out. And if you're listening and you're not a part of our Facebook group community, join the Miraculous Mamas community. It is such an amazing place to be, to feel safe, to ask questions, to be in community with other moms. And I'm so grateful for the women that I have in there. They're absolutely amazing. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram at the Miraculous Mamas page. Follow us on Twitter. Guys, every week I'm like, oh, Twitter, I'm going to learn how to use it. I'm probably a couple episodes behind on the Twitter, but I will do it. I just forget about it because I don't use it. So help me spread the Twitter love by sharing the Miraculous Mamas podcast on there. And if you listen to a podcast and you love it, please just share it. Share this podcast with somebody who you know would love it as well and could benefit from it and would love to be a part of our community. And I just want to thank you guys so much for being with us. We've been Miraculous Mamas for a year now, guys. It's been a year since Miraculous Mamas started, and I couldn't have done it without your guys' support and without the amazing women who have stood by my side this last year and gone through it with me and helped me figure out how to do this on my own. And I just love you guys so much. I truly love you guys. And I am so thankful for your support and the community, and just even the speakers who have come on and been willing to share their expertise with us, and everyone who's shared their stories. I'm so forever grateful for you guys. So we have 1 year down. I'm so excited for this next year of Miraculous Mamas and everything that it's going to bring. And yeah, I'm going to say it again. I love you guys. And I'll talk to you next week.